Hello everyone, this is Keith from the Solo Gamers Club and welcome to my channel. Tonight we're going to continue with our playthrough of Fortune and Glory, the Cliffhanger Game, against the Order of the Crimson Hand. Before we begin, I had one oversight at the end of the last video and I'd like to correct that right now. At the end of the last video, the Crimson Hand's acolytes were able to acquire the Shield of Loci. And I was saving a card that I had acquired earlier in the game. And I was intending to play this, and I ended the video before I did it. So I'm going to play it right now at this time, and that is the It's a Fake. Play when a villain would collect an artifact to discard it instead. And the reason I was saving this is because of the magic ability of this artifact. A magic ability gives the Order of the Crimson Hand a very powerful ability with their Dark Knowledge ability. And that gives all Crimson Hand villains and enemies +1 fight dice. So I wanted to make sure we could prevent this, and that's why I was saving that It's a Fake card. So what we're going to do is play that card that is going to prevent them from acquiring this card. It'll lower the villain track by 2 as they never acquired this. And more importantly, they will not gain the magic capability of their Dark Knowledge. So as it stands now, the villain track is at 6, and we cannot allow that to get to 15. Our adventurers have managed to acquire a total of 8 fortune. We need to get that to 48 in order to win the game. So we've got quite a ways to go. And I think we might have to get a little bit more aggressive more quickly than probably I would like. So I think the best chance for us is to make a raid against that Dark Sanctuary at some point. And perhaps we can steal back one of those artifacts. And that will lessen the damage that their Dark Knowledge is, the advantages that that's giving them. Right now, they have the Myth and Fate artifacts, which gives them some pretty good bonuses. The Myth artifact gives the Crimson Hand acolytes an extra success each turn to collecting the artifact they're on. So that means they would be gaining 2 danger markers every turn now. So we can't allow that. We're going to have to try to recapture or capture that artifact that's giving them that benefit. The other ability is Fate, and that's all rolls on the Crimson Hand tactics charts are +1 to the roll. That one isn't too bad, but the Myth is a bad one. That's giving them an extra danger marker for every acolyte at the end of the turns, and that's going to really accelerate this very, very quickly. So we're going to need to do that. Unfortunately, attacking a Dark Sanctuary is not an easy task. The character would have to perform a sneak with a search value of 6 for the Sanctuary, but the problem is they're especially well guarded, and as such, you must choose 2 numbers from 1 to 6 that you will be discovered on instead of only 1. So that's going to increase the probability of having to fight these guys exponentially. All right, we'll get started with the turn. And we'll make our initiative roll. Okay, the initiative is going to go to Jenny Butler. She has a 5. And Jake Zane rolled a 1, so he'll be able to draw an event card. And he draws the event. Deadly Challenge. Play on any test that a hero is about to take before dice are rolled. That test is now a deadly test. All requirements become deadly requirements. If the test is passed, the hero gains an extra 3 glory. Well, that's not too good of a card, but we'll take it. And now we'll make our movement rolls. And that's our movement rolls. And Jenny Butler rolled a 1, so she's going to draw an event. And she gets the event card, Local Trouble. Play on any hero in a city during an adventure phase. That hero may not interact with the city in any way this turn, or Play while in a city during your adventure phase to gain 3 glory. Okay, she'll take that card. Our first player is Jenny Butler, but she has only 1 movement point, so the choices would be to remain in Barcelona or move into Western Europe. And I think I'll have her move into Western Europe. All right, that'll finish her movement. So Jenny Butler is going to do a land adventure in Western Europe. Here's the die roll. She rolls a 1, and that means she has to fight an enemy. We have to draw an enemy's card. She draws the enemy zombies, infantry, occult, undead. Has a glory value of 5. 5 fight dice, 5 wounds, plus 1 defense, and zombies only hit on a result of 5 or 6. She can escape with an agility test of 6+. And her agility is a 3. That's not a very good chance. Oh, this is a tough one. I think she'll try it. She does have the elephant gun, which gives her +3 to combat. She does have the damsel, which would give her +1 to agility. That would move her agility up to 4. And we'd still need a 6, though. That is not easy. I'll think about this. Yeah, I think she's going to escape. So we're going to try this. Now, she has a card called Daring Escape. And it says play to let any hero automatically pass an escape test even after the dice have been rolled. So we'll try this with the standard escape. If it doesn't work, we'll use the Daring Escape card. So she has a total agility of 3 plus 1 from the damsel will be 4 dice. Here's the roll. We're looking for 6. And she failed. So we'll play the card Daring Escape. And that will get her out of it. And that will allow her to automatically pass. And she'll escape. She doesn't get any glory for this, but she doesn't have to undergo any damage from the zombies either. Jacques is seeking the Ring of the Damned, and that has an acolyte at it. The acolyte has 1 danger towards the 3 it needs. Jacques has 2 dangers towards acquiring the artifact. So if he can pass 1 more, he'll be able to get that artifact. But the Ring of the Damned has a curse. And it says after completing each danger, roll a d6. On a 1 or 2, take a wound. All right, so we're going to have Jacques attempt the 3rd danger that he needs to acquire that object. And unfortunately, he draws high-speed boat chase, danger, driving, chase, water, glory of 4. They're getting away. You'll have to kick it into high gear if you hope to catch them. It's going to be an agility test, 4+, but it is a deadly test. And unfortunately, Jacques has an agility of only 2. He will not be able to pass this test. He can exert, though, since it is a deadly test, so I guess we'll have a chance at it. We'll have him make the agility test. He gets 4. He needs to get to 4+. His agility is 2. So here is the agility test. He has 1 success. So he would need to exert twice and have successes on both of those in order to get it. Oh boy, this is tough. I guess we'll try it. I'll have Jacques take 2 wounds, and he's going to attempt to double exert. And if we don't pass this on this first one, there's no point in going any further because we would run out of wound capacity before we could double exert enough. So here's the roll. He's got a 4, so he's got 2 successes. I guess we'll try it. He's going to double exert 1 more time. And that'll give him 4 wounds. And see if he can pass this. If he can get a 4 or greater, he'll be able to capture the item. Okay, here is the roll. He's done it. He's got the 3 successes that he needs. That's going to get him the object, but it has the curse. After completing each danger here, roll a d6. On a 1 or 2, you take a wound. So we'll make the roll and see if he's wounded. If he is, he's going to be KO'd. He's not wounded, so he gains the Ring of the Damned. That is fantastic. So Jacques gained the Ring of the Damned. That was worth 4 fortune, which is outstanding. We'll put that on his card, and now we'll move on to Dr. Zhukov. He is in a cliffhanger, and that is in Greece. Now, unfortunately, even though the artifact is gone, it was taken by one of the acolytes. If you're in a cliffhanger, you still have to resolve the cliffhanger, and you don't get anything out of it, so that's what's going to happen. Oh, before we move on to Dr. Zhukov, Jacques Moreau has this canteen, and he's allowed to activate that to heal a wound, so I think he will do that. We'll tip the card, and then he's going to heal one of his 4 wounds that he has. All right, Dr. Zhukov is in Greece, and unfortunately he's in a cliffhanger, and there's no artifact there. It is They're Getting Away, Cliffhanger Animal Chase, Glory of 1. Your horse is exhausted. You have one last chance to catch up with a burst of speed before they are out of reach. He has to pass an Agility 5+ test. He needs 1 success. Dr. Zhukov only has an agility value of 2. All right, he has no wounds on him at least, so we might be able to exert. Here is the roll. And he's done it. He's passed it. So he's going to gain the 1 glory, and that's going to end his turn. There's nothing for him to do there. There is no artifact anymore. So now we'll move on to Jake Zane, and he is also in a cliffhanger in India. It's the same situation. There is no artifact there. So we'll see what's happening with Jake Zane. And Jake Zane is in a firefight. Cliffhanger fight Nazi. Looks like they want to resolve this with bullets. Maybe you should oblige them. Fight. Draw a Nazi enemies card. It gains +2 fight dice. And they draw the card Elite Nazi Soldiers Infantry Nazi Elite. Has a glory of 5. 4 fight dice, which will now become 6 because of that cliffhanger. They have 3 wounds with 1 defense. Now, rather than fight these guys, we can try to escape. Jake Zane has a agility value of 4, and he would need to get a 6 in order to do that. So maybe we'll try that. Unfortunately, Jake has 3 wounds out of his 5 capacity, so we'll have to see if this will work. I think this might be our best bet. We'll try to escape. Here's the roll. And he's done it. He's got a 6. That means we don't have to fight the soldiers. We don't get any glory for this because we've escaped from them, but he doesn't take any more damage at least. That's good. And we'll move on now to the villain phase, and we'll start with a villain event. Here is the card. It's Volcanic Eruption, Villain Event, Terrain, Geology. Any hero in a mountain space immediately takes D6 hits. Any temple in a mountain space immediately gains an instability marker and must roll for collapse. All right. Well, we have 2 heroes that are in mountain terrain. We've got Dr. Zhukov in Greece, and we've got Jacques Moreau in the Serengeti. I think what we're going to do is Jake Zane is going to attempt to use one of his cards. He's going to play the card, or use his personal library rather. Activate. Cancel an event or villain event on a D6 roll of 5. So we're going to tip the card that we've used it, and then we're going to try to see if we can cancel this before it becomes a problem. So we're going to need a result of 5+. Okay, here is the roll. And he rolls a 6. He's got the result. That means it'll cancel the volcanic eruption. That is outstanding. Next up is the outpost step, and we'll make a roll for the Dark Sanctuary. Roll is a 5, so an acolyte will be coming out. So the acolyte will go to the lowest valued artifact that does not have an acolyte. That'll be the Amulet of Atlantis. That's currently in Manchuria. Now it's our villain adventure step, and both of our villains are ready. So we're going to deploy Angelica Hamilton to the most highly valued artifact, which is going to be the Sword of the Golden Mummy, and she's going to appear in Persia. The Inquisitor is going to go to the next highest valued with the lowest danger value, and that's going to be the Amulet of Atlantis, and that's going to be in Manchuria. So that'll be their deployments. And that will finish the villain phase. We'll move on to the end phase. And the first thing we do there is the acolytes are going to gain successes. And now, since they have that myth capability, it says all Crimson Hand acolytes add an extra success each turn. So that means they're each going to gain 2 danger markers. So we'll place those on the artifacts. There would be 2 in the Amulet of Atlantis. That has a danger value of 3. And unfortunately, the Cup of Death is going to gain 2 more. That'll be 4. And that's enough for them to acquire the artifact. Now this artifact has the Death designation. That's going to give them the Death token, which is going to allow them to all Crimson Hand villains and enemies are now +1 wounds. Boy. So they acquire the Cup of Death. It's going to move the villain track up 2, and we're back up to 8 now. All right. Now we have to replenish our artifacts. So the new artifacts are going to be the Eyes of the Gods, has a fortune value of 3, requiring only 2 dangers. And the Gloves of the Pale Moon, value of 4, with only 2 dangers required. And we'll find out where these are going to be deployed to. First one is in the Indonesian jungle. Now that's a jungle space, so that's going to gain an extra 2 fortune value to it. So we'll place that in the Indonesian jungle. And we'll place 2 fortune in that space as well. So we'll place 2 fortune in there. And the next one is going to be found in New Zealand. All right, we'll place that marker in New Zealand. All right, that is going to complete the round. And we'll start with our initiative roll. All right, we have a tie, 4 and a 4, and the blue player is going to draw an event. We'll re-roll these for a high roll. And our first player is going to be Jake Zane, so we'll mark him accordingly with the first player marker. And now the blue player, which is Dr. Zhukov, will draw an event. He draws the card Expanding Influence. Event mob, play immediately. Place a mobster thug in 2 random cities on the board. Limit 1 per city. And the flavor text is, "This is our turf now. Get used to it." Okay, we have to reshuffle the event deck. And we'll place those mobsters. So we're going to have mobsters placed in Tokyo and in Venice. All right, so we'll place mobsters in those locations. And now we'll continue on with the movement rolls. Okay, here is the roll. Okay, there are no event cards coming out, and we'll make the movements on the board. Jake Zane is up first. He has 5 movement points. He's in India, and he has 3 wounds he's currently carrying. So I think we're going to try to get him, we'll get him to a city where he can heal up, and I'll try to move him towards the Pacific Northwest where the Dark Sanctuary is. So we'll try to combine those 2. So we'll have him move 2 points into the South Pacific, a 3rd point into the Pacific Crossing, which will take him over to the other side of the Pacific Crossing circle. That's 3 movement points. 4 into the Western North Pacific, and 5 into his home city of San Francisco. That'll be his move. Next up is Jenny Butler, and she has 3 movement points. She has no glory and no wounds, though. So let's see where we're going to move her to. And I guess the best thing she can do is try to contest Angelica Hamilton in Persia. So she's going to move 2 points into the Mediterranean and a 3rd point into Persia. That'll complete her move. Jacques Moreau is up next, and he has 5 movement points. And I think we're going to have a combined attack on the Dark Sanctuary, so I'm going to try to move him over to the Pacific Northwest. He has 5 movement points. So we'll move him 1, 2, 3 into the South Atlantic, 4 into the Gulf, and 5 into New Orleans. He'll have a city adventure there, and maybe he can purchase some more equipment. And finally, we have Dr. Zhukov. He's in Greece. And I think what he'll do is he'll try to aid Jenny Butler. So he'll make a movement of 2 movement points into the Mediterranean. You got to cross the straits there into the Black Sea, and then 3 into Persia. So we'll try that. Jake Zane will begin the adventure phase with a city adventure in San Francisco. We'll have him draw a city card. He draws the card Trouble in Town. City event, draw a random villain. Before you can interact with the city in any way, you must first sneak past the villain, fighting as normal if discovered. Afterward, the villain is removed from the board, and you can interact with the city as normal. All right, let's draw a random villain. And we draw the villain, Sir Benjamin Crowley, corrupt British lord. All right, we have to try to sneak past him. Otherwise, we're going to have to fight him. And, all right, Jake Zane is going to have to select a search path. And I think he's going to try path number 2 this time. Now, luckily for us, Benjamin Crowley only has a search value of 3. So that is good. Yeah, but he does have the collector ability, gains +1 search for each artifact that the villains have. Let's check that out. Yeah, the villains have 3 artifacts, so that's going to move him up to a total of search value of 6. That ain't good. All right, we'll make the roll. Okay, here is the search roll. And he has managed to escape Benjamin Crowley without any interactions. That is great. So Crowley will be removed from the board, and we can interact now with the city as normal. That's great. Jake has a total of 12 glory, and he's going to spend 3 of them to fully heal. He had 3 wounds, so that'll drop him down to 9. And I think now he is going to purchase a common item. And he'll buy a revolver, and that's going to cost him 5. So that'll leave him with 4 glory, and this is going to be his second item that he has. Actually, his first. His other one is a personal library, but that's listed as gear. Yeah, so that is a gear card. All right, so this is his second out of the 3 gear. Now, one good thing about putting adventurers in the same space with a villain is the villain loses a search die for each hero that's in the space. So we're kind of limiting her ability to find that artifact. So we're going to continue on now with our adventure phase, and this is going to be Jenny Butler and Dr. Zhukov and the Sword of the Golden Mummy. Now this artifact has a value of 5, and it's going to require 3 dangers in order to locate. We'll take our first danger. The first danger is Gambling Den, Danger, Luck, and Mob. Glory of 2. You find yourself in a smoky back alley gambling den in a high-stakes game of cards. What could possibly go wrong? Choose a number between 1 and 6 and roll dice equal to your cunning. If any of the dice roll your number, the danger is passed. If not, the test is failed. Go to a cliffhanger. All right. Well, Dr. Zhukov has a cunning of 5, so I think we'll let him take the test. And we have to pick a number between 1 and 6. I think he'll pick the number 5. So we'll place a 5 to denote our choice, and now he's going to roll 5 dice. If he can get any of them to come up a 5, we'll have passed this thing. Okay, here is the roll. And he's done it. He's got 2 5s, so we've passed this gambling den danger, and I think we're going to camp down. We don't want to try to sneak past Angelica Hamilton. Oh, wait a minute, that makes this this would have made this a deadly test as well. Well, we passed it, but all right. So we have to decide if we want to continue on now or camp down. None of us are wounded, so I guess we'll try to sneak past her. That might be the best bet. Now, when you're sneaking with multiple adventurers, each adventurer can take their own path. We don't have to take the same number. You could have Jenny Butler take 1 and Dr. Zhukov could take 5, and then we would make the sneak roll, and then if either of them would have that number, they would have to combat that villain. But I think since Dr. Zhukov is not so good at combat, we'll have both of them take the same route. And they're going to select route 3, and we'll have to check Angelica Hamilton's search value. She has a search value of 4, so she'll be rolling 4 dice. Okay, here is the roll. And there is 1-3, so we'll have to fight 1 round of combat against Angelica Hamilton. We'll begin with Jenny Butler. She has a combat value of 2, plus her elephant gun, which adds 3 dice to combat. She'll be rolling 5 dice. Angelica Hamilton has a combat value of 4, so Angelica will be rolling 4 dice. Now Angelica's wound capacity is up to 6 now, as she has a upgrade. And here's the 1 round with Jenny Butler against Angelica Hamilton. All right, Jenny has done a total of 4 hits. Angelica has done 3 hits. Each of the characters have a defense of 1, so that's going to soak up 1 wound for each of them. And that means that Jenny Butler is going to issue 3 wounds to Angelica, and Angelica will give her 2 wounds. We'll mark it accordingly. So we'll mark Angelica Hamilton with 3 and 2 for Jenny Butler. Now Dr. Zhukov has to make his attack against Angelica Hamilton. He has a combat value of 4, plus 1 for his scimitar, and since they're in a desert, Persia is a desert, the scimitar gains an extra 2 fight dice while in a desert or jungle. That's outstanding. So he gains 4 fight dice for his combat, plus 1 for the scimitar, and an extra plus 2 in the desert terrain. So he'll be rolling a total of 8 dice, but he only hits on a 5 or 6. So we'll make the roll and see if Dr. Zhukov can take out Angelica Hamilton. Here is the roll. All right, he has done a total of 2 hits. She has done a total of 2 hits. Each of them have a defense of 1, so 1 will be taken out, and each of them are going to be issued a wound. So we'll give a wound to Dr. Zhukov and an extra wound to Angelica Hamilton. She's up to 4 of her 6 now. All right, so they've successfully passed Angelica Hamilton, and they'll take their next adventure. We're going to mark them with a danger token because they've earned that from the previous danger. And now this new one is high-speed boat chase. Danger, driving, chase, water, glory of 4. They're getting away. You have to kick it into high gear if you hope to catch them. This is an agility 4+ test, but unfortunately, once again, it's a deadly test. So I guess we'll have Jenny Butler take the test. She has an agility of 3, and we'll have Dr. Zhukov there to, if needed, he can do double exert and try to get the extra successes we might need. I just looked, Jenny Butler has the ally, the damsel, which is going to give her an extra +1 to agility. So she'll be rolling a total of 4 dice for this deadly test. We'll see how she does. Here's the roll. And she has a total of 2 successes. So at this point we've failed it. But I think what we'll do is we'll have, since this is a deadly test, Dr. Zhukov is going to take 2 wounds. 2 additional wounds, moving him up to 3 of 6. And he'll be able to roll 1 extra die in an attempt to get that 3rd success that we need. He needs a 4 or greater. And he's done it. So we've completed that high-speed boat chase, and I think we're going to camp down. That's going to earn us our 2nd danger token, And we'll camp down. That will allow us to fully heal, and plus we'll be able to gain each of us will gain our glory, total of 6 in this case, 2 for the gambling den and 4 for the boat chase. That's great. So we're going to fully heal Jenny and Dr. Zhukov, and that will end that adventure phase, and we'll move on now to Jacques Moreau, and he's currently in New Orleans. Jacques Moreau is in New Orleans, and he's going to take a city adventure. He draws the card Stolen Thunder, City Event Secret Social. Play on any 2 heroes that are in the same space and roll a d6. One hero loses that much glory and the other hero gains it, your choice. Or play on a hero that is in the same space as a villain. That hero gains d6 plus 2 glory. Wow. Well, I think we'll play that card right away. We're going to play that on Jenny Butler, Stolen Thunder. Play on a hero that is in the same space as a villain. That hero gains d6 plus 2 glory. And she has currently no glory, so it would be nice to get her some. And we'll make the roll, d6 plus 2. 7, so she's going to gain a total of 7 glory, and that will help in case she gets KO'd. She'll have a little buffer there to pay the costs of being KO'd. Okay, we'll return now to Jacques Moreau in New Orleans. All right, Jacques is in New Orleans. Now we have the option of investigating what's happening at the docks or just interacting with the city. And I think what we'll do is I'm going to pass on the docks, because if something happens, sometimes you can get kicked out of the city. We won't be able to interact with it. So I'm going to forego the docks for now. And the first thing we're going to do is sell our artifact. And it's going to be selling the Ring of the Damned, which has a value of 4. So we're going to gain 4 fortune, moving us up to a total of 12. So we've amassed a total of 12 now. We need a total of 48. And I think his next step is going to be to heal. He's going to pay one glory for each of the wounds that he has. So we'll have him pay 3 glory to get rid of those wounds. That'll leave Jacques with a total of 13 glory. Now he has room. He's currently got a total of 3 items, but he has that special card, Expedition Leader, which allows him to have 3 more gear than normal. So let's see what we can do with that 13 glory. I think we'll start out by spending 5 glory, and we're going to purchase a gear card. Now he can purchase, he's got black market, and it says here may buy gear and comet items for 1 less than normal. So it's actually going to cost us only 4. That'll leave him with 9, and we'll draw his gear card. His gear card is revealed to be a lantern. Add +2 adventure dice during any trap or puzzle test. Well, that's somewhat useful. We'll take it. That is his 4th gear card. We can still hold 2 more, and we'll see if we can purchase some common items. And I think he's going to purchase a rifle. It's going to cost us a total of 7 because he has that black market ability. Gives him +2 to combat, and it says during the first fight round of any fight, your attacks are resolved before your opponent's attacks. So that might be a good card for us. So we'll pay the 7 glory. That will leave him with a total of 2 glory remaining. And we'll add that rifle to his tableau. Next up would be Dr. Zhukov, but he was involved in that combined adventure with Jenny Butler. So in this case, that is going to complete the adventure phase. We'll move on to the villain phase now, and we'll start with our villain event. And here is the card. And this one is Blizzard. Any hero in an ice space immediately takes d6 hits. All right, none of our heroes are in ice spaces, so that's fine. We'll let that go ahead. We'll move on now to the roll for placing an acolyte. Rolls of 4, so an acolyte is coming out. The lowest valued artifact are the Eyes of the Gods, so that's where that's coming out, and that is currently in the Indonesian jungle. Next up is the villain adventure step, and we'll begin with Angelica Hamilton, She has a search value of 4, and there are 2 heroes in her space. That'll reduce that down to 2. So we'll have her make the roll. And she has 2 wounds. That is absolutely amazing. That's going to KO her. She is going to take 2 wounds. Her current health capacity is 4 plus 2 with her upgrade. That's a total of 6 wounds now. Yep, and she is KO'd. That is outstanding. So we'll move her to the KO'd position, and that is great. She's fully healed now, but she's going to be out of the down for the count for a while. The Inquisitor is up next. He's in Manchuria, and he is seeking the Amulet of Atlantis. Now, they've already got 2 successes there from the Acolyte that was placed there earlier, and this item has a danger level of 3, so he's probably going to acquire this thing. Here's the roll. And he has only 1 success and 2 wounds. So that is going to be the 3rd success that is required, and he's going to gain the Amulet of Atlantis. That is a Might and a Fate type artifact, which they already have those special abilities for the Dark Knowledge. So the Inquisitor has done his job. He's going to return into a ready position. They've gained the Amulet of Atlantis. It's going to give them 2 more to the villain track, moving them up to 10. And we're within 5 of losing the game. Next up is the end phase, and the Acolytes now are going to be gaining danger tokens. And with their newfound ability of Dark Knowledge, they gain 2 danger tokens now. So that Acolyte gains the 2 dangers, and that's enough to claim the Eyes of the Gods. They're going to gain not only the artifact, but the extra 2 fortune that it provides in the Indonesian jungle. So we'll place that 2 fortune at the HQ. They're going to gain the Eyes of the Gods, which gives them might. They already had that capability. It's going to move up the villain track up to 12. Oh boy. That Acolyte is going to return back. And now we have to repopulate our artifacts. New artifacts are the Tears of the Monkey God, value of 6, 4 dangers, and has a curse. While at this adventure, your defense is reduced to 0, may not be increased. Then we have the Hammer of Osiris, value of 6 with 6 dangers required. It has all of the characteristics of for the Dark Knowledge ability, so that would be a bad one for the Order of the Crimson Hand to acquire. And that has 6 dangers as well. And the special ability is this artifact is worth +2 fortune. When discarded, shuffle this card back into the deck. Okay, let's find out where these artifacts are appearing. Tears of the Monkey God appear in the Himalayas. We'll place that token in the Himalayas. And the Hammer of Osiris will appear in the Serengeti. And we'll place that token in the Serengeti. All right. That is going to bring that round to a close. So the villains are within 3 of acquiring the necessary villain points to win the game. So we have to go after the Dark Sanctuary this turn. There's no way around it. We'll make our initiative roll. All right, the initiative will stay with Jake Zane. Now we'll make our movement rolls. Those are our movement rolls, and Jenny Butler is going to gain an event card. She draws the event Bold Action. Play on any hero, including yourself, to give them +5 adventure dice for 1 roll, or play on any hero, including yourself, to give them +3 move this turn. Okay. And now we'll make our moves, starting with Jake Zane. He has 6 movement points, and he's currently in San Francisco, and we don't have much of a choice. We're going to have to make a run towards the Pacific Northwest and try to attempt to take out that Dark Sanctuary. So he's going to move 1 and 2 into the Pacific Northwest. That'll be his movement. Next up is Jenny Butler, and her and Dr. Zhukov are currently in an adventure site looking for the Sword of the Golden Mummy. So I think they'll both stay there. They've got already 2 dangers towards the 3 that they need to acquire it, so we'll keep them there. And finally we have Jacques Moreau. He's currently in New Orleans, and he's going to also move to the Pacific Northwest. 1, 2, and 3. So I've got 2 adventurers now that can attempt that Dark Sanctuary adventure. So we'll begin our adventure phase with a combined effort of Jake Zane and Jacques Moreau to infiltrate the Dark Sanctuary. Dark Sanctuary has a search value of 6, but it's well guarded, and we have to select 2 search paths in order to get by the guards of the Dark Sanctuary. For every time that numbers that we select come up, we have to fight an Order of Crimson Hand, and they're going to have some special abilities. These guys are +2 fight dice for each wound that they have taken instead of the normal +1. So that's not good. So we're going to select the search paths 2 and 4. So for every 2 and 4 that is rolled, we're going to have to fight a Crimson Hand, which is not good. All right, here's the sneak test. And we've rolled a total of 2 of the numbers that we selected, so we're going to have to fight 2 Crimson Hands. Now these Crimson Hand are going to be +2 fight dice for each wound that they've taken. Now we can attempt to escape from them. That is another way that we can handle this. If we're able to escape from both of them or fight one and escape from another, if we can get past these guys, we'll be able to take out the Dark Sanctuary, and that would entitle us to either moving the villain track down D3 or taking an artifact from them. I just spotted an oversight that I had. The Order of the Crimson Hand collected 3 fortunes, so those should have been exchanged in for a gain of 1 on the villain track. That's going to move them up to 13. They're only 2 away from victory. I was looking a little more carefully at attacking the Dark Sanctuary, and we can escape at any time, but it doesn't get us the success that we need. We need to defeat the Order of the Crimson Hand, each of those that discovers us, and then the Dark Sanctuary is destroyed, and we would gain our bonus, but we can't do it by escape. We can escape, but then that would not get us the victory that we need. So we're going to start out against the first Crimson Hand. He's going to have 2 fight dice, and they gain +2 fight dice for each wound that they have taken. So right now they have none. So we'll start out with, I think, Jake Zane. He'll start out with, each of them are going to conduct a round of combat, and then they'll cycle through. We'll have Jake Zane attack, and then the Jacques Moreau will attack, and we'll keep going until either we're defeated or they are. We'll start with Jake Zane. Jake Zane has a combat value of 4, and he gets +2 for his revolver. He'll be rolling 6 dice. Crimson Hand will be rolling 2 fight dice for the moment. Here is the roll. All right, Jake has done a total of 5 hits. 5 hits. The Order has done 1 hit. So Jake has a defense of 1. That'll soak up the 1 hit they have, but he's issued 5 wounds to the Crimson Hand, and that's going to kill the first Crimson Hand. We've taken him out. That is great. Now we're going to do another one. This will be the last one. If we can get past that one, we'll have destroyed the Dark Sanctuary. And for this one, we're going to have Jacques Moreau start out, I think. Jacques has a combat value of 5. He gets +2 for the rifle and +2 for the revolver. So he'll be rolling a total of 9 dice, and the rifle. During the first fight round of any fight, your attacks are resolved before your opponent's attacks. So we could try to take that Crimson Hand out before it even gets a chance to fire. So we're going to roll his 9 combat dice. So here is Jacques Moreau's round 1. And he didn't do so good. He's got a total of 3 hits only. So we're going to place 3 wounds on that crimson hand. And the problem with that is they gain +2 to their fight dice for each wound. So that is not good. So it's got 3 wounds on it. And now Jake Zane will attack. He has a combat value of 6. The Order of the Crimson Hand has 2, +2 for each wound. 2, 4, 6, 8. They'll be rolling 8 dice. And that's not correct. The Order of the Crimson Hand hasn't attacked yet for this round, so they get to attack now. And their attack dice are going to have to reflect those wounds, so that means that the attack on Jacques is going to be a total of 9 dice. Uh-oh. Okay, here's the roll. And they have done only 2 hits. One is going to be absorbed by his defense, and he'll end up taking 1 wound. So we'll mark Jacques with 1 wound. And now we'll move on to Jake Zane. This will be a simultaneous now. And Jake will be rolling 6 dice, and the Crimson Hand will be rolling 8. And here's Jake Zane's attack. All right, not too good. He's only done 2 hits, and the Crimson Hand's only done 1. But that's enough to take him out. They don't have any defense, so 2 hits are going to go on to the Crimson Hand, and we've defeated them. All right, so we have successfully destroyed the Dark Sanctuary. We'll remove that from the board along with the Acolyte. And now we have the choice of taking an artifact from them or moving the villain track down D3. And I don't think there's much choice in the matter. They're only 2 points away from winning the game, so we're going to have to roll the D3 and see what we can do to move that villain track down. So we'll make the D3 roll, and hopefully we can roll high. And we've rolled a 1, and that's going to move the villain track down only 1 point. That moves it down from 13 to 12, and they're within 3 of attaining victory. But we've done what we could. And that's going to finish up with that adventure there, and we'll move on now to Jenny Butler and Dr. Zhukov, the combined adventure in Persia. Now, they currently have 2 dangers passed towards the 3 that they need to acquire the Sword of the Golden Mummy. So, what we'll do then is see if we can at least gain this artifact. We'll draw their next danger card and see what they have to go against. And this time it is a deadly trap. Oh boy. All right, the deadly trap has a glory of 4. Danger trap. Spot the hidden mechanism and carefully pick your way through the hall to avoid spraining the trap. We can do a lore 4+ test, which is a deadly test, or a cunning 5+ test needing 2. We'll do the cunning test. Dr. Zhukov has a cunning value of 5. He also gains +2 for tech or puzzle. Well, that won't qualify, so he's going to get 5 dice for this test, and we'll see if he can pass this. Get 5 dice out. And he's looking for 5s or greater. Here is the roll. He has 1 success, so we will give him a progress token. If he can get 1 more, we'll gain the artifact. Okay, here's the roll. And he's done it. He's got a 6. So we've passed it. We've got our 3rd danger, and we're going to acquire the Sword of the Golden Mummy. It has a fortune value of 5. And so we're going to give the Sword of the Golden Mummy to Dr. Zhukov, I think, and he'll have possession of that. And I forgot about one thing. In that battle with Jake Zane, he had the Cult Smasher personal mission, and that says defeat a Crimson Hand enemy in combat, and that earns him 1 fortune. So that happened. So we're going to do that. We'll gain an extra fortune that will move us up to 13, and then he gets to draw a new personal mission. And this time his next personal mission is Glory Hound. collect 18 glory without spending it. Okay, that might be a little tough. And now we're going to move on to the villain phase. So we're starting the villain phase, and it says here under Dark Sanctuaries that at the start of each villain phase, if there are no Dark Sanctuaries on the board, place a new Dark Sanctuary in a random location. So we'll do that first. So a new Dark Sanctuary appears in Siberia. We'll place it there. So Dark Sanctuary is in Siberia. And we'll start the villain phase with a draw of the villain event deck. This time it is Vile Tactics. Roll once on the Vile Organization's tactics chart. Move the villain track one step forward. Flavor text is evil has a way of spreading quickly. Well, I think what we're going to do is we're going to use Jake Zane's personal library. We can activate it to cancel an event or villain event on a D6 roll of 5+. This is a villain event, so we'll try to make the roll and see if we can do it. That would really help us if we can. All right. So here is the roll. And he rolled a 2, so that is no good. So we're going to tilt the card that has been used, and that villain event is going to take place. And we're going to have to roll on the tactics chart and move the villain track one step forward. That moves it back up to 13. And now we're going to roll on the tactics chart. And now when that tactics chart is put into play, we have Order's influence. As a secret society, the Order has members in positions of power all over the world. It is easy for them to manipulate individuals through threats and promises. Anytime you roll on the tactics chart below, also roll a d6 for every ally in play. On a roll of 4, 5, or 6, the ally resists the Order's influence. However, on a 1, 2, or 3, we place an influence token on the ally and roll for them again. Any influence tokens remain on the ally, and they are -1 loyalty for every token on them. If an ally's loyalty ever reaches 0, immediately discard them, and the controlling hero must lose D3 fortune. Not good. Well, let's take a look at the number of allies that are in play. Well, the only ally in play is the Damsel, which is being controlled by Jenny Butler. The Damsel has a loyalty of 3. So we're going to have to make a roll and see if she's able to pass this. And we'll see if that's true. Okay, here is the roll. The roll is a 2. On a roll of 1, 2, or 3, place an influence token on the ally and roll for them again. Uh-oh. So we'll place an influence token on the Damsel, and we have to roll again. Okay, here is the roll. And it's a 1. She's going to gain another loyalty to -1. One more, and that's going to be a problem. We have to continue to roll till we can pass it. Here is the roll. She failed, so she's got -3 to loyalty. She's been reduced to 0. The loyalty, the ally is discarded, and we have to lose D3 fortune. Oh boy. So we'll have to surrender D3 fortune. And we have to surrender 1. So that's going to move us back down to 12 fortune collected right now. And the Damsel is discarded. And now we have to make a roll on the Vile Tactics chart. Now the Order of the Crimson Hand has the Dark Knowledge ability for Fate. And that's going to give them a +1 to the roll. Okay, here is the Vile Tactics roll, +1. They rolled a total of 6, and that's Secret Society. Draw a random villain to become an additional active villain, placing their villain card near the Vile Organization record sheet with the figure in the ready state. The new villain is considered to be part of the Crimson Hand faction in addition to any other faction they may be part of. If this villain successfully collects an artifact or is KO'd, discard them from play. They are no longer considered an active villain. Okay, we'll draw a villain. And they draw the villain Icebox Eddie Falcone. All right, we're going to get him on the board, get his model at least, and he'll be in a ready position. So we'll place Icebox Eddie in a ready position, and he's going to deploy to the map just like the other adventure or other villains will as well. Okay, that completes the villain adventure step, and now we're going to roll for our Dark Sanctuary. Here's the roll for the Dark Sanctuary in Siberia. And yes, a Acolyte will come on the board. And that Acolyte will go on the lowest valued artifact, and that's going to be the Gloves of the Pale Moon, which is currently located in New Zealand. And now it's the villain adventure step, and each of the villains is going to activate. Angelica Hamilton will move from KO to delayed. The Inquisitor will deploy to the map in the highest valued artifact. That will be either the Tears of the Monkey God or the Hammer of Osiris, and it will go to the one with the lower danger value. So it's going to go to the Tears of the Monkey God in the Himalayas. And finally, Icebox Eddie Falcone is going to deploy, and he's going to go to the next highest value, and that would be the Hammer of Osiris. That's currently in the Serengeti. So they've made their deployments. Next up is the end phase, and we have one Crimson Hand Acolyte on the board. And they're going to gain 2 danger tokens now because they have that extra ability with the Dark Knowledge. And that is sufficient for them to gain the artifact, the Gloves of the Pale Moon. And unfortunately, by gaining that artifact, that's going to move the track up by 2. And we're going to lose the game. And that moves the track up 2 points, 14 and 15, and they have won the game. And so that's going to bring this playthrough to a close. I have yet to ever defeat the Order of the Crimson Hand, and this game is no exception. They just have so many capabilities that it makes things really hard. I'm sure there's some strategy that I could have employed to minimize this. I probably should have gone after the Sanctuary earlier than even I did, and I think that could have been a help. If we could have eliminated some of those artifacts that they had that were giving them those bonuses with the Dark Knowledge, in particular that myth capability, that would have helped, because that was giving the Acolytes 2 successes every round, and we just can't compete with that. So I think that is the secret to trying to keep them in check. So thank you so much for joining me at the Solo Gamers Club. I hope you enjoyed this 3-episode playthrough of Fortune and Glory, the Cliffhanger Game. Thanks for watching, and thanks for your likes and subscriptions. And until next time, this is Keith from the Solo Gamers Club signing off and wishing everyone a pleasant day. Good night.